much are you led by your head and how much by your heart? In my work, it's always been a combination of both, head and heart. For almost 2 decades, I've been very passionate about building bridges between academic and applied consumer research. In the beginning of my career in consumer insights at Procter & Gamble, which is the biggest multinational household, personal and beauty care company in the world, I spent hundreds of hours observing how consumers are making their purchase decisions at different types of stores. What sparked a lot of interest for me was to understand why consumers make specific purchase decisions at particular moments of time. So, after several years of my corporate career, I decided to dedicate some time to do a PhD in behavioral science and consumer neuroscience at Warwick Business School. What does doing a PhD really mean? You leave your favorite job, you move to another country, you have no money, your friends don't consider you cool anymore, and you may almost get thrown out in your first year to boot. All in all, a great experience. Seriously though, it was all worth it in the end. During my PhD, I found numerous conversations, both in academia and industry, about the duality in the way we make decisions, which in a nutshell highlighted the importance of both cognitive involvement and emotional engagement. Such decisions can span from what kind of products to buy as a snack or a drink to, should I do a PhD? For now, let's focus on the first, our purchase decisions. Overall, research shows that there are several stages in our purchase decision-making process, even if you remember only the moment of paying for a product. Let's have a closer look at an example purchase journey, which may help you also to better remember how you spent those £80 last time. So, we start with the initial stage, where our experience and mindsets play an important role. This is when, for example, you decide to go to the nearest supermarket to get some ice cream, instead of waiting for an ice cream van to appear in front of your house, playing that cheerful tune. In the next stage, you get an inspiration to buy a product. Imagine, while going to the ice cream aisle, you notice a 4-pack of lemonade with a very attractive discount. Although you were not planning to buy it, it appeals a lot to your need state to quench your thirst on this particularly warm summer day. So, you proceed to the following stage, when you get the product from the shelf and carry it with you. Eventually, you buy both, the chocolate ice cream and the lemonade. But this is not yet the end of your purchase journey. How do you feel now? Happy and hydrated, or annoyed that the ice cream is melting in the hot sun? As with decision-making in general, in our purchase decision-making process, we're leveraging both our reflective and impulsive systems, but to different degrees. Have you ever read the best-selling book Thinking Fast and Slow, written by the Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman? In short, he outlines 2 systems which play different roles in our decision-making process. In my research, I applied a similar framework called the dual system model. It allowed me to identify that then we are making purchases from our initial shopping list. We are making very rational decisions or planned purchases. Quite oppositely, when we grab a novelty chocolate bar from the shelf, because of its attractive packaging or prominent location in the store, we are making an impulse purchase. And this decision is mostly underpinned by our impulsive system. And thirdly, the lemonade example is a great showcase of an unplanned type of purchase. You might not have had an initial plan to buy the drink, but seeing the lemonade created this kind of aha moment. My research has shown that like planned purchases, Unplanned purchase decisions are mostly associated with the reflective system. But which of these three types of purchases do you think takes the longest? Well, impulse purchase decisions in store actually take longer than the decision-making processes that lead to planned and unplanned purchases. A great example of an impulse purchase may include a product you've seen several times in your regular e-commerce store and which you eventually get intrigued by. For example, recently, while I was browsing through a Korean beauty shop, I found these magic glow serum drops for my face, about which I got very excited and ended up buying. It's not a surprise that sometimes we may regret these purchases, and that's why this final post-purchase stage I talked about before is important both for you and the brands. Have a think. Is there anything new you discovered in the last couple of months and decided to buy? What type of purchase was it? Unplanned or impulse? And after you bought it, were you happy or did you regret it? And if it was an impulse buy, how much did you spend? A study conducted back in 2018 shows that people in the UK spend close to £144,000 on impulse buys over their lifetime, with around £200 a month. Of course, it doesn't mean that all this money was wasted, as many of us will have enjoyed these purchases or found them useful. But how can we make sure that our money is well spent? Well, for us as consumers, it means that we may want to put an extra effort into leveraging both our reflective and impulsive systems to ensure that we are making the best decisions both for ourselves and our families, and to ensure we are not in trouble when we get home. Even if you decided that you would like to follow your inspiration to buy a product, it's never harmful to appeal to your reflective system and ask yourself, how would I feel after making this purchase? At the end of the day, it's your subjective evaluation, but it can bring you more confidence and joy. Another approach would be to plan your shopping experience more carefully. For example, you could avoid doing grocery shopping while being hungry, or you could plan some breaks for the days with a lot of shopping in order to allow yourself some time to recharge between the shops and to give yourself some strength to resist buying more chocolates. I hope that now you feel much better equipped for your next shopping journey. But what about those bigger decisions I mentioned before? What job should you choose, or which of your passions is worth following? Well, if we want to develop ideas that will drive action, we need to ensure that both our head and our heart, our reflective and impulsive systems are working together. Because from one side, it requires a lot of cognitive involvement in reflecting and analyzing. And from another side, it needs emotional engagement in staying resilient and motivated. For example, my passion for consumer insights inspired me to take some time off from my corporate career. In many ways, this decision was driven by my impulsive system. But at the same time, I always kept a focus on how my research can be applied later on in the marketing and advertising industry. And this is where my reflective system helped me to stay very connected with the industry and to be very intentional about the studies I was conducting. In the nutshell, after you define an area that truly interests you, it becomes much easier to devote time to get to the core of these subjects. These don't need to be solid academic research or something groundbreaking, but instead can be as simple as understanding how to plant herbs or how to interpret current events. Soon after, you'll notice how you started thinking much more critically, both about what you're working on and what you're reading outside of your co-working hours. That's why I would like to strongly encourage you to define an area of your interest, and to make a commitment to stick to it. Sometimes it might become very discouraging to pursue what you're passionate about, because you may look different or not fulfill someone else's expectations. But look at this from a different perspective. You are following the expectations of your authentic self. So, enjoy the journey. Thank you.